sensing a lot more red flags here. I don't know if she sensed them or she noted these, but I'm sensing at least like what's popping, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the Kickback Babes. I hope you're feeling comfortable because we're about to get into some things. How your back feel? Now, did you drink some water today? I want to up it to 2 bottles. Did you drink 2 bottles of water today? Yesterday it was 1. Today is 2, baby. Let's make sure that we're staying hydrated because very fucking important. And make sure that you guys are just feeling blessed and feeling pretty good today. And I just want to make sure that you guys are doing good. So with that being said, let's get into some things, y'all, because I've been hearing about some videos that have been surfacing around TikTok. So let's just see what it's giving. I was making sure that I didn't watch any of these videos so that you guys can get a raw reaction on camera from me. Miss Reesa Teesa is from Atlanta. Yeah, she got part 40 of this. Part 43. Part 49. Y'all, I don't know if we're going to be doing all of this. I'm definitely going to have to chop this intro up because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to find this video. But y'all, we're going to do the first 3 parts. We're going to react to it, and then if you guys want to see a part 4 and 5 and 6, the next parts of me reacting to it, then let's do that. She's from Atlanta, beautiful brown skinned woman. All right, Miss Reesa Teesa, let's see what it's giving, girl. You made 50 parts of this damn video of who the fuck did you marry, so let's figure out who the fuck did Miss Reesa Teesa marry.
Hi and welcome. We all know why you're here. You're here for part of the new series that I am calling Who the Fuck Did I Marry? I'm going to create this playlist series and I'm going to tell the story of how I met, dated, married, and divorced a real pathological liar. This is my introduction / disclaimer video. First and foremost, I'm going to be truthful, even if it makes me look bad. I'm going to be honest, but I'm also not going to be disrespectful to anyone that was involved. I'm not going to use people's real names because I don't have their permission to do so, and my sister does not want any sort of litigation. I will tell you off the top, I have a sense of humor and I have sarcasm. So things that you see me laughing at, none of this is funny. But in order to get through it, I have to laugh.
So Miss Reesa Teesa just told us, look, I am letting y'all know I'm going to tell y'all a story about how I married, divorced a pathological liar, a real one at that. So she says that she might laugh or she might, laugh during telling this story because that's how she gets through it. I just wanted to make a note that that is a real thing. When people are laughing about really serious things, don't judge them. Don't assume, because you never know what their coping mechanisms are when it comes to real traumatic situations or just experiences that bring them discomfort in general, okay? As a young woman who has used that coping mechanism myself to get through certain situations, I completely understand where she's coming from. So it's heard, sweetie. We heard you, Reesa, because if you laugh, if you hear her laughing, like she said, this is how she gets through it. So don't assume that she's very insensitive to the situation because she literally just gave us a disclaimer that she's not even trying to be disrespectful to this ex, okay? And she's not here to even bring his name up. So I think that is top tier respect, and while also trying to tell your story and tell your truth and also just lay off a burden off of your heart. So shouts out to Miss Reesa for that. Let's see what else she has to say.
If I cry, I cry. I'm human. I'm a woman. This was traumatic. I'm going to do the best I can to upload as much of the story as I can because I know people get so annoyed with the follow for part 4, follow me for part 17. I'm just going to do the best I can to keep uploading the videos each at a time. I'm going to go in order from the time we met until the time I got our divorce decree in the mail. So that is a lot of time to cover. Please give me the grace to just get it out. It may not be all in one day. It may not be all in 2 days. But what I can tell you is even if you don't necessarily see a video, I'm probably recording it and then I will upload it into the playlist titled Who the Fuck Did I Marry? What else do I need to cover ahead of time? Because I feel like this video is important to give some sort of context. So that way when people jump into the series, they kind of can figure out, oh, let me start at the introduction video and then work my way through. A lot of the questions that you all have sent me will be answered when I start and tell the story in order. Everything I'm going to tell you can be verified. There are people in my life who can easily verify, yes, this did happen. Yes, he really did do that. Yes, he said that. Yes, she did go through that. I have no contact whatsoever with my ex-husband in any way, shape, or form. We do not communicate. We do not have mutual friends or anything where we communicate through those people. No contact. I cannot stress that enough because I feel like somebody's going to ask me, do you still talk to him? No. I ain't seen him. I ain't heard from him. I don't want to hear from him. And I will tell the entire story up until the last time I did hear from him and what happened. Yeah, this is my story. So
I would like to say this after she said that. Shouts outs to this young woman for giving a clear disclaimer that I do not talk to this man no more. We are not in communication. So before you hear anything of what comes out of her mouth, know that she has put that behind her and she's doing the process of healing, of getting past a traumatic experience. She is taking those steps because I know a few people who have been through traumatic situations and then who go double back on those same people who traumatized them or who did them wrong. And I'm talking about relationship wise. It's like you go back and then you still complain about it. It's like nobody, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, don't nobody owe you any empathy when you continue to go back to somebody and then you continue to complain about it. I mean, I understand like when people go back to their abusers and they have this connection to their abusers, whatever, but in most situations we're not talking about abuse, but we're talking about manipulation, lying, cheating, emotional distress, things like that. If it's not like, but I feel like that is a form of abuse. But I just want to say I commend her for making it clear that she does not talk to him no more. She doesn't have any communication. She doesn't see him. That is all dead. So it just makes, for me, I really do want to listen to your story now because knowing that you've put that behind you in a sense, you don't talk to him, you've cut off communication from this person who's caused you trauma. I feel like that is a big step when it comes to getting through things and healing, right? You have to be able to make those ties and cut those ties off from whatever caused you trauma or whoever caused you trauma. So that is just, I just want to make that a point, but let's continue.
I am just a regular woman who thought she met the one and I didn't. Most people have never came in contact with a pathological liar. We typically come in contact with like a compulsive liar. It is not the same. A pathological liar has no reason for why they lie. And the lies that they make up, there's no limit to the lie. I was once a psychology major in undergrad. I didn't graduate with a psychology degree, but I'm very comfortable saying that he was a pathological liar. He was a narcissist. And yes, there was some mental, in my opinion, mental health issues going on. Pathological lying part, absolutely. So I want to preface all this by saying, you're going to probably think, what in the world? There's no way this happened. Everything you're going to hear me say actually did happen. I never thought I was going to be in some sort of Lifetime movie, but I was. So I will read the comments as best I can. Like I said, I think if you allow me to tell the whole story, things will be answered. And sorry, I do talk with my hands. It's a coping mechanism. So if you're like, why does she keep moving her hands? Other than that, let's all take a deep breath, buckle in, because this was a fucking crazy ride. And if you think it's crazy, imagine how I feel as the person who lived it and had no idea what I was dealing with. I thought I knew, but I truly had no idea who the fuck I married. You like how I twisted that? Anyway. All right, y'all. This is the introduction, so welcome. Part 1 will be up shortly.
Okay. We just saw the introduction / disclaimer. I feel like that was a very well articulated disclaimer. I feel like for me, I'm gonna just watch, but if I do have any questions out, like she said, they will be answered in the video. Really good disclaimer. Shouts outs to her for articulating it, and she did not have to, but shouts outs to her for being able to articulate that, girl. Shouts outs to you.
Please excuse the hair, but here is part 1 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So I met my ex-husband around March 4th of 2020. We met on Facebook.
Girl, I just want to say this. 2019, of December of 2019 was actually the first knowledge that we had of the coronavirus. Did it come to the United States? No. I believe the first case of the coronavirus came towards the end of December of 2019. I would say that. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm not gonna say I was one of the first people to know, but I was following somebody on YouTube who was getting information from China. You know, black women who worked at China in China at the time, near Wuhan. I forgot the city, but excuse me for getting the names mixed up, y'all. Going into that, I know a YouTuber. Shouts outs to Lovely T. I'm going to just put her name in there. Lovely T 2002. I was watching one of her lives, and somebody called in and was like, there's this disease that people are talking about in China, and they're making it very secretive, and they're not being honest with the people here in China about what's going on and how serious this disease is. Fast forward to January of 2020, that's when we got the first official case in the United States, and that's when we began this long, tumultuous journey of the lockdown and, you know, coronavirus and all this shit, right? So when I hear people who got together around 2020, I'm not gonna hold you, I met my boyfriend in 2021. I feel like 2021 was kind of like trickling out of it just a little bit, even though it was still things going on, but 2020 was like, we don't know what's going on. We're all scared. We don't know how serious this is. They're telling us all this information. In 2020, it was just very scary. So to see that people were meeting around that time, to me, it's like, wow, like, are y'all still together now? If y'all met around the brink or the beginning of the coronavirus, are y'all still together? Because that was just a very transformative time. And then right after that, we like I said, we went into lockdown and it got more serious and people were stuck in the house together. So meeting somebody in 2020 and then being stuck in a house with them is just very interesting to me. And I hope that there's a lot more couples who got together in 2020 who made it out of 2023 who are still together in 2024, because the coronavirus situation was just a very big emotional impact for all of us. So for people to find love during that time is very interesting to me, but let's continue.
Facebook dating site, and we also matched on Hinge. I did not realize that he was on both under 2 different names. So one was his actual name and the other one was a variation, like a nickname that he called himself. Different.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Well, she's about to say different pictures, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If that's still his nickname, cool, but that's still a red flag. Like, why are you using 2 different names on dating websites? It's very weird to me. Like, very weird. I mean, maybe the one that he was using his nickname for was the one that he wanted to just get sex from. Maybe just one night stands with that one. And then the other one, he was trying to see what type of women he got. Because from what I know, Hinge is like one of those websites where you look for sex. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but let's continue.
Pictures. So it was a running joke between us. Oh, you ain't even recognize that you had matched with me on Hinge. No, I didn't. And also that should have been a red flag. By the way.
Yes, girl, that is a red flag. And you got 2 different pictures. It's like you're trying to personify 2 different people. It's very weird when people have that. Like, why? But it's okay. It's very slight. But this is why it's important as young women that we vet our men appropriately. And it's very important that we take heed to these red flags and don't downplay them like they're just red flags. Like, these are actual red flags that are indicators of a bigger issue, of a bigger problem, or of something that will arise in the future. Like, what is y'all definition of a red flag? I want y'all to put that in the comments below. What is your definition of a red flag? Without going to Google, what is your definition? Because It's like people hear that word and they're just like, red flag. But it's like, baby, this is real life. Like, but, you know, I'm not faulting her for this. I'm just saying, let's take heed to these red flags. Also, if you guys want a video on how to vet a man appropriately, I have a part 1 to Vetting 101 if you guys want to check that video out, so that you can find more appropriate and suitable men or women for you. So yeah, vetting is very important. And it's hard to do vetting when you're over the phone. Sometimes you have to sit in front of that person before you make it official to really see what kind of person they are. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 different dates without having sex with them, without getting infatuated with them, by just looking at them and observing them. Sometimes you have to sit back and just listen to somebody talk. So I'm ranting, but yeah, let's continue.
You will notice in this story, I called it the United Nations of red flags. It is so many red flags that, I mean, you would have thought I was colorblind because I ignored all of them. So, anyway, back to the story. We met around March 4th. We exchanged phone numbers. He called me and we talked on the phone for the first time. In the first phone call, he told me that he had just moved to Georgia from California, from San Diego. His job had transferred him because he was being transferred in as the new regional manager for a major condiment company that is based here in Georgia. I'm not going to say the name. And so we also talked about his childhood. He told me he grew up in Philly. He's from Philly. Both of his parents were deceased. This is the first phone call. Both of his parents were deceased. His father was a Philadelphia police officer. His mom was a teacher. He also told me he briefly lived in Augusta with his family. He had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. He also had 2 half-brothers on his dad's side. First phone call. So I'm just giving you guys the backstory. This was the first phone call we had. So we talked about family. We talked about friends. We talked about our jobs. At the time, I was working at Georgia State Patrol.
I just want to say this. She's saying first phone call as if there's something to be noted there. I'm not picking that up because honestly, talking about your family and your friends on the first phone call, to me, if you're not dropping all of your traumas and trauma dumping onto this person on the first phone call, then cool. But telling them about the dynamic of your family, like, I'll ask about your parents, and if you're honest enough to tell me that both your parents are deceased, I appreciate that. And, you know, I will take that and appreciate that, and I will continue to listen to you. But she's saying first phone call as if that's an issue. But honestly, I'm going to be honest with y'all ladies. You want to get to know as much as you can about a man on the first few dates that you possibly can. And he's going to tell you certain things in a certain way that's going to cater to his side of the story or whatever. So you have to take what he's saying and put it together as far as, okay, A side, B side, and the truth, right? I don't think that there was anything wrong with that. Now, if it turned out that all of this shit was a lie, then that's very unfortunate that you're just lying to people and we're trying to believe you and take what you said as truth. But if he ended up lying about his parents, that's some sick shit.
And he knew this and he just thought that was like, wow, you know, so you work with troopers all day. Yes, I did. Also in that phone call, he explained to me that he used to play football. He explained that he used to play arena football. I know nothing about arena football. I know about NFL. I know about college. Go Dogs. But I don't know anything about arena football. So he explained to me that he used to play arena football. He used to work at Apple in the off season of arena football. And I remember thinking on that phone call, oh, okay, you know, like, good for you. I don't know anything about arena football. And I believe I did tell him that. I don't know anything about arena football. That'll come into play later on. So he told me, you know, I just moved here. My job is paying for my housing and they're helping me to look for a house. He was like, right now I'm in Gwinnett County, but I'm trying to look for a house, ideally in Atlanta, like Brookhaven, Sandy Springs. He was like, I really would like to move out there. And so I thought, you know, that's great. You know, you're looking to get a house, you just moved here. He was like, I don't really know too many people here because I spend all my time at work, and you know, this job is really demanding. So that was our first phone call. We talked more. He talked a lot, which took me by surprise because I'm not really used to men talking more than me. He eventually asked me out.
Okay, I think I'm gonna be able to pick up a lot more red flags than she picked up, but that was definitely one of them. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing, but I'm not, because if a man talks more than you during the first interaction, you got to think about it from different perspectives, lady. If you're getting to know a man and he's just, to me, it sounds like dumping. I don't know. Certain things, if you're a man and you're just throwing all this shit on a woman on the first date, that is a red flag. Now, I did just say that, you know, a man telling you about his family dynamic and his friends and his job and his occupation, things like that. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with talking about these things on the first date. But like she said, she was not used to a man talking more than her. You got to ask yourself, why are you talking so much? There's so many different perspectives to look at this from, because sometimes you gotta think about it like, are you talking more than me because you don't give a fuck about what I'm saying and you just want to keep on talking about building this rapport up? It's like they're trying to dump all of this stuff about themselves onto you so that you can have a fixed perspective or whatever on them, so they look like a certain way to you, and they just, the more information they dump onto you, the more they feel like they're morphing your mind of them. But somebody who talks a lot, you got to think about it like, people who talk a lot, there's a reason behind why people talk a lot. There's different reasons why, and it's not always the reasons that you may think. So I'll just leave it at that. If he's not inquiring about you, if he's not inquiring about what you think or throwing those questions back at you and reciprocating those questions, if he's just talking all this shit about himself, to me, I'm gonna look at him, I'm gonna be like, look, you're feeling yourself a little too much, baby. Like, me personally, I don't like a man that talks too much, because it shows the lack of consideration for the person you're talking to when it just becomes you talking. So I'll just say that that's a red flag.
Me out on a date. Our first date was set for Saturday, March 7th, 2020. He asked me what was my favorite restaurant. I said Cheesecake Factory.
Girl, I love me some Cheesecake Factory. I was just talking to my boyfriend about Cheesecake Factory. I love Cheesecake Factory. And they have so many options. But she said that they were quick to go on their date. My thing is, you listen to this man talk as much as he did, and you didn't take nothing from that. You're like, all right, let's go on a date. I mean, hey, you know, whatever. But let's continue.
And so we agreed to go out at the Cheesecake Factory in a location that was in between. I lived in Clayton County at the time. He lived in Gwinnett County. I realized that if you don't know anything about Metro Atlanta, that makes no sense. But basically, we lived about 45 minutes apart. So we agreed to meet at the Cheesecake Factory over at Perimeter Mall, which is in an area, Sandy Springs, Dunwoody area. I was excited. Like, I called my friends and was like, I got a date, you know, blah, blah, blah. We'll see how it goes. First conversation was good. Hopefully he looks like his pictures, because, you know, that's always an issue with online dating. Hopefully he looks like his pictures. So on my way to our date, I took 285, and literally right before I got to Boulder Crest, the exit for Boulder Crest, I heard a boom, and I lost control of my car. Thank God that well, not thank God, but I knew what to do. So I did not crash, but my tire blew out. So I called him and I said, hey, I'm so sorry, but my tire just blew on 285. I'm slowly making my way off the exit. I believe I pulled into a Chevron gas station. And I said, you know, I got to get this fixed. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm a damsel in distress kind of thing. He kind of paused. He got quiet, and he was like, you know, tell me exactly where you are. Drop your pin. So I dropped the pin, and he came to the gas station. Came to the gas station, got out the car, and I was so relieved that he actually looked like his pictures that I was like, oh my God, he's actually attractive. Like 6'4", 6'5".
Big relief, ain't it? Big relief, ain't it? Very big relief. Like, we just gotta start getting into real life speed dating again, blind dates, maybe not that, but just dating in person. I don't know, because meeting somebody in person for the first time is weird. So I can see how online dating has been normalized. But girl, isn't that a relief when somebody looks exactly like they motherfucking picture? Because, you know, I've experienced online dating when somebody didn't look exactly like their picture, but then I've dated people from online dating that looked just like their picture, and I'm just like, perfect.
You have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees.
I remember dating a guy who was that tall too, and you know, his pictures look like his pictures, and he didn't have nothing to hide when it came to his look. So we love that. We love that. You get extra brownie points when we finally see you for that, because you're not hiding anything physically, right? At least you're not hiding anything physically, because I also dated a guy who, he didn't have an eye. He did not have an eyeball. But the way he took his pictures, he only had one eye, but the way he took his pictures, he hid that shit so well in every single picture. Once I finally seen him in person, I was like, oh, okay. I tried my hardest not to look at that damn eye.
Oh, also, man, I apologize. So let me go back to the first conversation. Let me add something. He did tell me in the first phone call that he was divorced, and that his ex-wife, she had 2 children, a boy and a girl, who were teenagers, young adults. I think the girl was about 20, and he said that he had a very close relationship with his stepkids, but that he and his ex-wife had divorced because she cheated on him out in California. And so coming to Georgia was a new beginning for him. She was still out in California. The kids were still out in California. And so, you know, he was like, I can't stand her, but I still want to be in the kids' lives. I have to put that in there because that will come back later. So this is just setting the stage. Again, that first conversation we talked about family, job, friends, how he ended up in Georgia, me being in Georgia, the things that, you know, I would think people talk about in the first conversation.
I think that, yes, she is correct. Those are things that people talk about within their first conversation. It's about what the fuck they're saying, though, about these topics. People will be like, yeah, we talked about family, we talked about friends, we talked about a job, and, you know, act like everything is normal just because y'all talked about it. But the next step is to analyze what this person is saying and making that choice in your head if that is a suitable person for you. Hearing that, it's really sad to have both of your parents pass away, but what else was he saying about this to make it be like, okay, I don't think that this person is a good suit for me? I think that honestly she was just so wrapped around probably his looks and probably overlooked it, because she did say that she overlooked it. So we're not about to sit up here and bash shawty, but talking about these things, there's nothing wrong with that. But what you guys are saying about these topics is very important, and it's important to analyze it. People just talk about those things and be like, okay, at least I know what they were going through, or I know their traumas, or I know that, you know, but what does that say about that person, or how does that affect somebody in their adulthood now? So,
all right, now back to the tire blew out. So he shows up to the gas station. He changes my tire, which I just thought was the sexiest thing in the world. And then he proceeds to say, hey, I found a tire place around the corner. You need to get another tire. Like, you can't drive on this donut. So he followed me to the tire place, and then helped me get a tire, paid for it. So I was definitely like, wow. And so the vibe was good. So anyway, I get the tire fixed. We follow each other to the Cheesecake Factory over in Perimeter. We hold hands walking into the Cheesecake Factory. So in my mind, I'm like, this. Oh my God, I had butterflies. That's the.
what? Girl, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Holding hands on the first date, it's going to distract your mind. It's going to cause you to be too infatuated. I'm gonna be honest with you. When she said they was holding hands to the Cheesecake Factory, that's weird. I'm sorry. When I went on my first date with my now current boyfriend, we didn't hold no damn hands. We did not hold each other's hands. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but I was still trying to get to know this man. And yes, while I was feeling good vibes, like my first date with my boyfriend was amazing. I enjoyed it. I had butterflies too. I was feeling nervous, you know, it was cute. But were we holding hands? No. Like, I just thought that was a little too soon to be holding his hand and showing that. Because that's PDA. That's public display of affection. PDA is public display of affection. I'm gonna be honest with you, on the first date, you shouldn't have to be showing all that affectionate type of behavior. Granted, he did just change her tire, and she did mention that that was very attractive to her and it turned her on, you know, so she just was giddy off that. So giddy up, I get it. But sometimes as women, we have to tone ourselves back and kind of yank our emotions back and be like, okay, let me do my poker face and so I can really figure this out. Because if you show the man that you're falling for this shit, he's going to just keep feeding you that shit, and his ulterior motives are going to really be fed because you're distracted by the holding of the hands, the changing of the tire, the tallness, the 6'2", that you're not actually registering what the fuck this nigga is saying and how he's operating and what this may mean. Don't hold no hands on the first date, ladies. Let's not hold no niggas' hands on the first date, okay? That's just too much. Uncalled for, and it just distract your brain. So I just want to say that.
That's the look of a woman who had butterflies. So I had butterflies, and we go in, there's a long wait, and so we sit outside and we just talk, and the conversation's great. And this is where he tells me what it is he's looking for. He tells me, you know, I believe at the time he was 42. He was like, I want to get married and it be for real. He's like, my parents were married 40 plus years before my mom passed away. And I want that. I want marriage, family, a house. Like, that is what I want. He was like, I'm as a man, I'm ready to get married, but I want it to be for real, because the first time, you know, it really hurt me when she cheated on me. So he's telling me everything that I wanted to hear. And so he was like, what is it that you want? And I said pretty much the same thing. I was like, I'm ready to get married. Definitely want to have a family. And I want to marry my best friend. So we both put on the table that we wanted marriage. And this is the end of part 1. Part 2.
Okay, y'all, I know that we're getting into the juicy nitty gritty, but I'm gonna have to break this up into 2 videos. I will wait to watch the rest of this for the next video. I'm sensing a lot more red flags here. I don't know if she sensed them or she noted these, but I'm sensing at least like 6 red flags in this situation. What do you guys think of this situation? Do you think that, I don't know, like, because I don't know where this story's gonna go. We're only in the beginning stages, but what are y'all thoughts on this story? Do you think that, how many red flags do y'all see? What was the first initial red flag that you saw? And also, what was the most prominent, the most reddest red flag that y'all saw so far out of this story? So if you guys want parts 5 through 7, then go ahead and give me a comment or like this video, or let me know, let's see another part 2 to this. Let's continue the story, because if you guys ain't feeling this shit, then I'm not going to continue this on camera. I definitely will watch this shit off camera. But if you guys are not feeling this content, then let me know. But other than that, I hope you guys have a blessed day. I hope you guys are drinking water. I hope your guys' back is feeling good. I hope you guys are staying blessed, right? And I'm gonna see y'all in the next video, y'all. We out in this bitch. Peace.
Fraudulent scam mail. This that soul feeder. What you got inside that well? This that